What's going on, family? Thank y'all for joining me on another episode of Abandoned Voices. Today I have Miss Sharon Marie.
Hey.
And we talking Black Lives Matter. Yes, I know I'm talking Black Lives Matter with a white woman, but she's deeper than me with it.
I'm woke.
She's woke.
I'm a woke white person.
So what's going on, Miss Sharon?
Oh, lots. I stay very busy.
Very busy.
Yesterday's Women's March was excellent, and
I know I actually was invited to one in New Orleans, but yesterday was my birthday, so I really.
Happy birthday! Mine's the 17th.
17?
Yeah.
Coming up, past.
We just went there.
Oh, just went there. Okay.
Yeah, 64.
Happy late birthday.
Thank you, same to you.
64, right?
Yep, I earned every one of these gray hairs, and I work it. Privilege.
So I'm gonna hop right into it.
Okay.
How you get involved with Black Lives Matter as strong as you is?
Well, Katrina.
Katrina.
I mean, I was a social worker, professional social worker, for 3 decades and change, but I wasn't woke. Okay, and then.
So you wasn't woke?
I was not woke.
All right.
But after the hurricane hit, and I ended up kind of displaced with about 6,000 to 8,000 other evacuees in the Faraday-Natchez corridor, which is like the heart of the Cotton Belt. Yeah.
Anything to do with Natchez.
Oh, it was a trip. I'll tell you, I landed in the 1950s. I could not believe it. So what happens is, being a social worker, you know, even though you're part of the traumatized base, you're expected to step up to the plate. So after spending 3 days sitting in the lobby of the waiting room of the motorhome park that I ended up in, I realized if they aren't showing up in New Orleans, they are not showing up in Vidalia, Louisiana. So I started knocked on 165 trailer doors, almost entirely from St. Bernard Parish. And I started organizing meetings every morning, got people, you know, rights to food stamps, offices, I just did a lot of organizing. Well, in the course of that, one of the FEMA workers came up to me and said he just attended a meeting. We'd heard that 60 trailers were coming in, 60 FEMA trailers were coming in, and he was at a meeting where he heard the white mayor of Vidalia say that I don't want blacks in my FEMA trailer, in my trailer park.
Wow.
Yeah. And the head of FEMA, who was there at the time, John Gutierrez, came to me because I had become known as the point person for the evacuees. And he came to me and he said, I need you to be sending me all of the homeless people that you've been working for that are displaced who are going to be eligible for FEMA housing because we have some trailers coming in. So I didn't know what to do with this. He came to me first, then I heard about the FEMA worker tell me that they didn't want blacks in there. So I didn't know what to do. So I went to the FEMA guy and I said, listen, I have 2 questions. One, did you come to me officially or unofficially asking me for this help? And he said, it's an official request. I said, okay, thank you. Then the second thing I have to ask you is, do you have a no discrimination policy? You'd have thought I'd ask him for the family recipe for gumbo. I mean, he starts shuffling papers, him and Han, we don't have any control over who comes into the... What? I really didn't understand what was going on. I said, it's a yes or no question. He said, does FEMA have a no discrimination policy? He said, yes. I said, thank you. So I left. And to me, the matter was resolved. Until that night when I got a phone call on the cell phone that the City Hall had loaned me for my work. And the phone call was from the mayor of Vidalia, the white.
So the mayor called you directly?
Yes. Well, I had been the only evacuee at all these meetings with all these bank presidents and stuff.
So you met some people.
I was organizing. I was I was the
point
person for 6,000 to 8,000 evacuees. Okay, so the only representative from that group who was in there making these decisions about what to do with these people. So I got the phone call that night from Hiram, who said, is this Sharon Marie Chester? I said, yes, it is, sir. Glad to talk to you. You know, have you called? Because we've been in meetings together. And he said, I'd like to know who the hell you think you are.
Just the mayor talking to you?
Yeah. The transcript is on my page. And I said, I don't know what you're talking about. And he said, well, I heard you call me a racist. And I said, no, sir. I think you have the story incorrect. I said, what happened is I heard this rumor that you didn't want blacks in the FEMA trailers. I went to the FEMA and they said there was no discrimination problem. And he stopped me right there and he was beyond himself. And he said, who gave you the right to ask that question in my town? So it's been game on since then. Because I wrote him a letter and I said, I don't have a right, I have a responsibility to ask that question. I'm a social worker, I'm a human being. I call myself a Christian, working on it.
We are.
Work in progress. But that just really, he went on to threaten me, told me I was never going to work again as long as I lived.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, I want to know who told you that rumor. I said, well, it was a FEMA worker. And he said, I want his name. I said, well, it sounds to me like you want blood. He said, I do. I said, well, then it'll have to be mine. Because I'm not giving you his name. I will take his name to FEMA and try to handle it that way. He said, how are you going to? So he just, that was that. So he hung up.
So that's the first thing that kind of gets you.
That was the rape. That was the rape of my racial ignorance. Some people get the slow introduction.
Trying to open.
No, I got the hard introduction. So.
So you get any backlash from other white people about you being hardcore? I know it's a dumb question, but
well,
so you being hardcore Black Lives Matter?
Yeah, especially. I mean, surely you know about St. Bernard Parish. Okay. Okay.
But believe it or not, it's been pretty cool with me so far.
Oh, they're
so far.
flying in your face. Just don't have the conversation, and you'll be able to tolerate it.
Oh, all right.
You know, that's the way it is. We were all conditioned to be racist, and you all were conditioned to internalize it.
Right.
Okay. There's just no way you can't survive being 4 years old and not having incorporated a whole ton of racist crap.
Right.
You know. The kids, look at the only Crayola that's in there that's pink is called flesh. What are you telling a child about their skin color when that's flesh? Okay, the messages, the microaggressions, the constant, unrelenting drumbeat of you are inferior comes from under the floorboards. And it's really hard, especially when you're whitewashed, to be able to recognize it.
Well, a lot of people's kind of waking up and realizing what's going on now with the social media, because everybody have a voice.
Yes.
And there's a president that kind of basically told everybody.
He is the biggest blessing that's ever happened.
Exactly. I see the same thing.
Oh, Lord.
I didn't care for Hillary too much. We had to pick one. Of course, would have been Hillary. But with him winning, it's kind of almost a blessing in disguise, because now people that was asleep, you have no choice. If you're not woke and that's what's going on, it's by choice now.
Yes.
There's no such thing as I didn't know. Now it's by choice. I
say Hillary would have taken us another 25 years before we realized she was patronizing black people. She was. She was working on woke, but she was like on a 7th grade level of a 12th grade education on racial literacy. It's the super predator thing. I mean, that was a mistake.
Yeah, mistake, exactly. Right.
And we all are, Maya Angelou says, you do the best you can.
Right.
Until you know better, and then you do better.
Exactly.
So. And
now with the mistake, she admitted to it. She didn't hide it. She confessed. She tell you I was learning. I mean, it's life.
Right.
What's going on now is.
But he's made this a binary choice.
Yeah.
That's what's awesome, because he's made this you're either for human rights or against human rights. He's bringing, the enemy of, how's it go? The enemy of my enemy is my friend.
Yep.
So we're getting a lot of friends. And somebody said to me on my page today, and I think this too, why can't Black Lives Matter get the kind of traction that the women's marches are getting?
Right.
But the only thing I can say, because and God bless them, more power to them. But what do they got that we ain't got with our argument,
Exactly.
But all I can say is this is where it's important to have a good understanding of intersectionality. Because going to that women's march yesterday, that's where we enhance solidarity. That's where we pick up recruits for Black Lives Matter. That's where we help white progressive liberals understand that being progressive or liberal is not the same thing as being racially literate.
So why do you think people always paint the Black Lives Matter, make it seem like it's bad, like it's some hate group or something?
Well, because it's a threat to their privilege.
I was thinking the same thing.
Of course, you know, they're just
like
brainwashed.
anytime Black people speak up for themselves, it's kind of almost like, you know, like it's like they paint the picture of violence.
Black skin is perceived as a weapon by white people. So if your skin is a weapon, you're always armed. And when these police officers are trained at trigger, you know, with a trigger finger that's this sharp, and they think you're a danger, all you have to do is look like you're 13 and you're 12. And I mean,
you're watching that in real time, in real life.
Government statistics. It's called The Ultimate White Privilege Statistics by J.B.W. Tucker. Look it up. It's a very important piece to have in your repertoire. Black males between 15 and 19, 21 times more likely to be shot on sight than white males of the same age. Okay, this is not like, oh, well, he must have done something wrong, and then they pull out everything that they can find about, you know, the black kid that they just killed on the railroad tracks. And blamed him for, like, you know, picking up a railroad tie and trying to defend himself. Sorry, but that's the way it is. You know who I'm talking about, St. Bernard. Yeah, I'm not very popular.
So you have a hard time living out here?
Well, I mean, I built a house here. I mean, I dug it. This is the place for people say, why do you move here? You know, why don't you go with people who are? Because this is where people like me belong.
Need to be woke.
This is where white people belong, in the trenches. And St. Bernard is
it's kind of like by you being white, you have an inside connection to.
Yeah, because white people will say things to me that they're not going to say to you.
Exactly. That's what I'm getting at.
Yes.
They say it to me online.
Oh, yeah.
Or, you know, in the chat rooms.
And please call me in.
But
when I'm not banned.
In person. Yeah. So most people that's, you know, you try to explain to them like white people, do they get it or they just don't care?
There is a spectrum. From ignorance.
I know if you don't really have black friends, you don't really hang around black people too much, or other races, you see it from a distance, you don't really know how to handle it.
Well, most white people have what I call a transitional person, which is that black token person in their lives that they think is the exception to the thug race. No, what do you mean? I have a black friend. Of course, they're different from black people.
Right.
See, that person I work with, they're not a thug. Like instead of that being the normal person who's a black person. See, white people don't know who black people are. You know, the concept of whiteness was not even an idea until the 1600s. There were many wars before that, and they say, oh, well, they enslaved their own. Well, sure they did, because there were regional warfare, and they enslaved each other for religious purposes, for, you know, gaining, you know, doing greedy things that countries do to each other. And some of those were black and the others were black. Okay, so yeah, they did. But ours is the first system of enslavement where we just picked some random physical characteristic and made that the basis of enslavement. And yes, when we made it so profitable, black people did take advantage of that. And furthermore abused that option. Your question?
I was just saying, like, what white people do they really know?
Oh yeah. Well, like I said, there's a spectrum from ignorance to evil. Okay, because we're all ignorant. We all start out ignorant. You got to give everybody the benefit of the doubt at first, because we were conditioned this way. And then, but once you start feeding people, if they have a brain and a conscience, they can't not evolve. But there are certain people who start resisting that, and they start peeling off into being toward the violent, you know, evil end of the spectrum. And so
I think, I mean, to cut you up, I think most white people don't care too much because it benefits them. It's beneficial.
That's
like what President Trump's going on, and you know, a lot of people don't claim him openly.
Yeah.
But a lot of people voted for him, and a lot of people still support it, whatever. And I think as long as you like, you know, from a if it don't affect you, I might not go against it, but.
Well, that's how I lost my family. Okay, in this fight, and that was because
you kind of like the Salvador Jane Elliott.
My family of origin in this fight when after Katrina, and I saw how bloody this race thing was going to end up being, and I wanted my kids safe, okay, because I was not safe. So I sent my kids back to Pennsylvania, to my home. Well, they said, that is not your fight. You need to get back here with your children. Well, I didn't know any of these terms at the time, but my children were privileged. My children were taken care of. My children were in the bosom of their family that was supposed to be feeding them in a time of catastrophe. You know, I lost my home too. But it is my fight.
I think it's everybody's fight.
It's everybody's fight because you are my kin of color. We're family. You are not a subspecies. That's a lie that there are not more than one race. But they developed these. See, when they started the enslavement process and the whiteness thing, what they needed to do was they needed to come up with some kind of narrative that was going to justify to their consciences the cognitive dissonance between knowing what they know is right and wrong and what they were doing. So they had to make up all these narratives about who black people are in order to justify the behaviors. So now we have generations later of people who have been listening to these lies about black people and basing opinions
on those.
And so what we need to do, and this is why I'm starting this 501c4.
501c4?
Yeah, it's a nonprofit, but it's educational versus just nonprofit. The benefit of educational is basically that's what we need to do, is educate people about what race and racism is.
I think everybody needs more education, and you know, people will learn more. Some people.
Yes.
I still think most people just, you know, if it don't affect your house, your money.
But it does.
You know.
I mean, the thing about that white people don't realize, for the most part, is that maybe even black people too. The process of oppression does not only dehumanize our victims, it dehumanizes us. I mean, I'm associated, my skin color is associated with the most vile life form that has ever existed. And that's the lynchers of this world, okay? That's why I can't let my skin color do all the talking when I'm in public. I can't, because that puts me on it, and it should. If until you have the conversation with a white person, you had better count on them being in conditioned mode. We have to be educated out of our racism.
Exactly, you gotta be educated out of it.
And so I'm developing educational materials that address the false narratives, and you know, trying to get something going in that direction. That's where I see using my strengths as a social worker, a teacher, and a woke white person.
So you ever feel threatened, like scared for your life, like? I've
had my life threatened. I mean, by the mayor, for God's sake, you want my blood? You know, what do you want here? You know, yeah, I've had my life threatened. But you know, I have had. Oh, and I even had this white wizard. That was his name. Last time I looked, for some reason it had been taken down. I don't know if his whole site has been taken down finally, but he even found me online and posted. He gave me a soundtrack about this anti-white scum, you know, and they posted.
Yeah, because no, white people different from black folks. Once y'all start liking other races, y'all get cut off. Black folks, we don't go that far. But you know, white people, either you. Once you're a nigga lover, there's no coming back.
Nope. Hallelujah.
No
Never will.
Back.
Can't go back. That's for sure. Well, it's like, how can you not do something when you know?
Exactly.
Once you know what's going on, you know, much is required of the person to whom was handed the stolen goods. That's me.
You get any like hate or like from the black community?
I have had my share of problematic black people
I know everywhere.
Huh?
So I know everybody. Even people you try to help sometimes don't understand the help or don't want to be helped and automatically see you as an enemy because you're not black. So how can you help them?
Well, there's those, and then there's people who are saying, "Shut the fuck up," because you're making the problem worse.
I don't see how you can make it worse.
Well, I don't either. Frankly, I'm sorry, but
sometimes you need people that's already in the inside to help, because you already, like I said, by you being a white person, you could talk. You sit at a table with white people that black people can't do.
Right.
Not saying can't sit at the same table, but the conversation's different. You already in it.
Right.
Like what you doing out here.
I'm on the in crowd.
What you doing out here? Somebody black can't do that.
No. Listen, I have black friends who get dropped off at the parish line.
And I can believe it.
It's true. This place is nasty. I mean, we got a few white people over here who are working on their courage, and I really appreciate that. I need your help. We all need your help.
So you have black friends who mess up and they drop them off at the parish line. That's funny.
Yeah. Well, what were you?
I could believe it.
I met your wife?
Yeah, that's how I got in touch with you. You met my wife. You gave her a bumper sticker. And she was like, "Babe, I met this white lady. She was hardcore Black Lives Matter. She gave me a bumper sticker and told me to honk. Matter of fact, I think she honked the horn at you.
Okay.
Because your car got honked
Honked twice. All over my car. Yeah. My car's a billboard.
I know. That's what it was.
Yeah.
I think she honked at you, and you gave her a sticker.
Yeah, I jump out of my car and hand out bumper stickers, and
that's how I actually got to see you the first time. Then I ran across you again from somebody else's page.
Okay. And I think, once I look back, and I think you contacted me like way back in November, and said, "This is not spam." And I go, "That's spam."
That was me.
That's spam. Crash that.
Yeah.
So sorry
because
about that.
my page, I don't have my name on it. I don't, I say abandoned voices instead of saying Morris Jackson.
Probably a good idea.
And
it's a trip.
That's how I actually contacted you the first time. Now I'm going through your page, I'm looking like, this white lady real? Because she's talking more about Black Lives Matter than some black people I know. So I started following you. That's a real tattoo?
Yes, it is. Dude.
Let me see this again. She got a real BL. I saw it on the picture, but I knew it was real. I thought it was one of those, just mark or something. Man, you hardcore.
Damn, dude.
She got a real...
No, this is what happened. I have, I have a psychotherapy practice, okay? And I have to walk a very weird, thin line about addressing racism in my practice, because my clients are not there paying me to address their racism. Okay, so that's why I put on my voice greeting on my business that I don't see racist. I've had a couple of people turn me in for that already. Try to set up ethics charges against me for that being some kind of unethical thing. But anyhow, until I did that, I still have some Trump clients. And one of them said to me, I used to wear an armband, a BLM armband every day. Okay, and he said, my wife wants to come in with me to do some marital stuff, but she's really offended by your armband, so I'm going to ask you, as a personal favor, would you please remove your armband when my wife comes in?
So wife was offended by your armband. We had something on the armband?
I had a BLM armband.
Oh yeah, the armband.
Yeah,
oh.
I had a BLM armband.
And she was offended by the armband?
Yes, she was. And so, see, she wouldn't have said that to a black person. Okay, that's where I get to use my leverage. But anyhow.
There you go.
Yeah.
There
right.
you go.
So anyhow, I had to think about it, and I said, I feel ethically obligated to respect the request. So I took my armband off, and that's what it is, because you can't shut me up.
So that inspired you to get the tattoo, because
she
made so now you can't take the tattoo off.
No, I can't take that off. You can't make me take that off. Something kind of ironic about the branding of white flesh in the name of the movement.
That's great.
And I don't expect all white people to do this, but step it up, guys.
Exactly. Yeah, I think sometimes, people got to just have a conversation and stop assuming you know what goes on in another person's mind or life or whatever, and you can't go by what you see off TV or your one black friend. Sometimes people have to have the conversation. I mean, on both sides, white folks and black folks sometimes can have a conversation. But I'm not saying it because I'm black, but I think it's more on the white people's side, because I've been in many different circles, and sometimes I get prejudged until people get to know me. Mm-hmm. Then it's kind of almost like I don't care for you too much because you only like me now because I'm not what you thought I was. Mm-hmm. But why you can't just thought I wasn't that from the beginning, or make assume that I'm a thug.
Yeah. I know.
Just
like it's whitewashing.
I mean, then like I said, it's not all. I got a lot of different races of friends, and it's not everybody. So
I have problems with black people who are not woke. Like I'll have a white person who fights with me about the Confederate monuments. She says my black person friend agrees with me because they called historic art. Just because you have one person, black person, this is not a monolith, okay?
Right.
When I come into these situations where I'm not sure if this is a right thing or a wrong thing to do, I really have to count on the wisdom of the greater collective of my black friends on Facebook. Because black people have discrepancies between themselves about what's the right way or wrong way to go about things, and white people are kind of like, what are we supposed to do? Figure it out. So but like the Confederacy thing, I can't. That's so obvious.
Yeah, it was kind of almost a no-brainer with the whole coming down. I mean, some people say the mayor only wanted to come down with like a political statement. It wasn't really genuine, wasn't in his heart. But whether it was genuine or not, I mean, sometimes
You mean Landrew?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like Malcolm Super really gives him a hard time, and a lot of people do, and I'll let them make that judgment. I don't know him that well, but he did right for whatever self-centered reasons there were. He did a damn good speech and
say it was self-centered, but sometimes
what do you call it?
Sometimes it is, but at the same time, it's
works for us.
There you go.
If you can get some mileage out of it, go for it.
There you go. I mean,
work them. Use white people.
I mean, you don't know what pushed them to actually. He probably been thinking about it. What pushed them.
It might have been self-promoting. I don't care. I don't care what the agenda is. If it dovetails in, you grab it and take it. We need all the warm bodies we can get, for one thing.
So why do you think, it's probably a dumb question, but why Facebook keep banning you? And you on what number band you on now? 13, correct?
Today I got my 13th band. 13th
Facebook band.
Facebook band.
And
Facebook band.
They all the Racebook band.
Yeah.
They all practically do it with race and Black Lives Matter type of stuff.
That's all they talk about, yep. There's all that. Yeah. They're trying to oppress voices. Is all it is.
So if you're talking White Lives Matter, you think you'd be banned? Probably not. Don't question, right?
No, because they do. They're the only ones that ever did. And what I'm doing is I'm putting together like albums that talk about the different narratives, like the all lives matter thing. Why that's so idiotic, because you have this conversation so many times a day for so many years. Mm-hmm. You got to start. That's why I've designed hundreds of memes to try to break this stuff down into little tiny bites, to feed people with, to help them understand how they're so. But the thing is, with 45, he's got real good skills at conflation. Mm-hmm. That's his top skill. He conflates really well. Like he's trying to pit this, he's a triangulator. That's what it's called in my profession. He'll grab one, he splits, and then he'll grab one and pit them against each other. And it's the Willie Lynch thing. Alive and well.
What I always say about the president, it's not so much him. I look at the people that support him, because once again, the things he say and do is you can't explain it. I mean, his own people on TV can't explain it, and you look kind of crazy and retarded trying to explain it. And like I say, it's not so much of, well, not saying it's not so much of him, because of course it's him, but I think the people that support him behind closed doors, that's the worst one. They worse.
Well,
they worse, because
I've been saying it since 4th of July 2015, when Columbia, South Carolina, that woman of conscience climbed that flagpole and took that flag down. I said that was the shot not heard around the world that began our second uncivil war. And And Americans only now just starting to wake up to that. I think we're there. I really do. I think it's overdue. I mean, I haven't put my weapon down since Katrina, but I never saw any light at the end of the tunnel until social media.
Yes, exactly.
The devil itself is the venue for the revolution.
The devil itself is the venue for the revolution. Yeah, social media, because now everybody have a voice, everybody have eyes, and you can say
Can't
something.
keep the secrets anymore.
Yeah, you can say something today, and tomorrow it could be heard by millions of people.
Yeah.
So
or on the spot.
You're right, on the spot now.
One of the things I want to do is I want to get that. I just got myself my first big girl phone, so I have a smartphone. But one of the reasons I got it was I want to get that app. I think it's to the ACLU, and start filming again. Law enforcement officers at stop events. You know, like if I see them pull a person of color over, I'm going to stop and film.
And film it.
I started doing that here, and it was going to get me killed. Or it was going to get the person who was I was stopping to take film of killed. Because this one black woman, they stopped her, and I stopped, and I parked about 100 meters away. And about half that, really. And the cops went nuts and go, "Who are you?" And he's going to turn and go, "Who is she?" And she's going, "I don't know. And I said, "I'm just trying to make sure everything's okay." And I pointed to my racism bumper sticker, you know. But then these other cops came, and they're all looking at me, and they're all really weirding out, and they've let her go. But she was nervous as heck, and I was really getting scared because they were yelling at her.
That's crazy.
It was crazy.
They pulled her over.
Yes.
She's cooperating.
Yes.
You stop.
Yes.
They get more mad at her.
Yes.
That's not only how it go, but it just, you know. And that's why I'm saying, when you on the inside, people like you can help.
Yes.
And like you said, once you see it, it's kind of almost like once you see the light, you can't go back, because now you seeing this, you first-hand experience. You're saying, how you get mad at her and she don't know you?
And listen, when she takes off, he comes running at me with his hand on his gun. Dick. A dick with a dick. Too much testosterone and not enough gray matter, you know? "What are you doing? What are you doing?" And I held my camera out. I said, "Taking pictures." He says, what are you taking pictures for?" I said, I like taking pictures. He said, "Is that so?" I said, "Yes, it is." He said, you want my name?" I took his picture. I said, "I already got your name." He followed me home.
Wow.
Hi. And I was renting an office on this street, and I put out a sign that said, "Honk twice if Black Lives Matter." Within 48 hours, not only was it ripped down, it was ripped down on YouTube with them threatening to come after me.
On YouTube?
Find out who I am. Yes.
Because you say honk if Black Lives Matter?
Yes.
Like
that right there, I was renting an office in there, and they came and ripped my sign down, videotaped themselves taking it down, and I have all the snapshots that people that were friends of yours were sending me. So I got to see who all was out there threatening me. In fact, I had to actually get the police involved at one point, because this one white woman, who is the daughter of one of the 4 deputies, the white deputies, who were indicted for the death of a young black mother in the jail. And I was looking them up on Facebook, their names, and I erroneously identified that one of the deputies' daughters as being her, and I put it on Facebook. Well, I do have to say that I tried to vet the thing first. I contacted 2 people who live in the parish, and I said, "Is that her?" And they both thought it was. So I went ahead and posted it. Well, I went to work, saw a few clients, and when I came back a few hours later, there were 19 people who were completely loading my Facebook page up with threats, and including her, who said, "You're just the you're just the definition of a white N-word, and I am coming after you like a effing bull bitch. Just be glad you were warned."
And she put this all online.
Online.
So everybody can see it.
I took a picture. And
She a white woman. She could do that. She get away with that.
she's the daughter of a deputy, okay? There's some complications in that. So I'm sure that my little disagreement and I have a group that was stalking me, and I have some of their their pictures of their stuff on the other St. Bernard Facebook page in an album. So that's the St. Bernard welcome wagon. So their names, got receipts.
And you go through all that. And you got some black folks that wouldn't go through half of that. And I guess because the consequences are different being black sometimes.
It's not your responsibility to do this. I mean, you are oppressed from the beginning. I have privilege. I got to work my privilege.
And sometimes, like, white racist people, they hate other people like you more than they hate black folks.
They do. That's right.
Because
there's nothing worse than an N blank lover.
Exactly.
I hear it all the time.
They hate people like you even more.
Yeah, because they say you can't help it yourself.
That's crazy.
It's sick. So I can't do that. I was fired 4 days later.
Wow. So you got to thank God for people like you.
Well.
And like I say, from you being conscious and being in the inside and seeing it, and like at the end of the day, it's just people are people. Whether you're white, black, green, or purple, people are people. And
well, we're human.
There you go. We are human.
And some
One
of us
race,
need to be punished, but the rest of us, we got to hang together.
Wow.
Okay? It's good to meet you.
No, the pleasure's all mine. Oh, I get
Okay, babe.
You sure you're not black under the skin?
I get accused of that on a regular basis. My mother sent me some Dead Sea mud. She's very Republican. And she said, I had a sneaky suspicion you always wish you were a little darker in the face. I said, back at you, Mom. We have a dialogue, what can I say?
Wow.
But anyhow, well, we're all good. It's about one love. Love is big. The love is big.
So one more time before you go, what is called? The thing you're doing? Got the name of it.
Look me up on the other St. Bernard Facebook page.
The other St. Bernard.
Although I'm banned for 30 days.
Yeah. I can't look for it right now. Wait till February.
The thing I'm doing with the racial literacy is the other Facebook page. One of my other ones is called the New White Rose.
New White Rose.
I also have the New White Panther Party, Warriors Against Racism, a few other little things.
Yeah, I saw that one. The War Against Racism. I saw that one.
That was one of mine.
And the White Panther Party.
New White Panther Party.
The New White Panther Party.
Yeah, but I do my local street work on the other St. Bernard, and I do my literacy stuff on the New White Rose.
So when you be banned from Facebook, your page is people can log on and see, or you just can't. You just can't post.
I can't post. I can't even click like.
Oh, you can't, but you still can log on and see it.
I can see everything. So if anybody wants to contact me, if you want to, you can even inbox me a phone number or something. If somebody needs to reach me or something, I can do.
Oh, you could inbox them. You just can't do nothing public, like nothing. Oh,
I can see the inboxes. I just can't.
I never been banned yet.
Touch.
I want to get banned for this video.
Who knows? It's 13 times. It doesn't take much. They have my name.
Wow. So you've been red flagged, huh?
You can say that. That's good. It's an adventure. This is the best time to be alive. If you'd have gone to that march, there's no other place in all my born days that I have been besides these rallies, and especially the Alton Sterling one, where every single person that was there because of love.
You said the Donald Sterling?
The Alton Sterling protests in Baton Rouge.
Oh, on Sterling, right.
Where they came at us with the LARD thing and the thing, and the woman next to me got slammed on her face. And a brother picked me up by the armpits and pulled me over a fence and saved me from getting whacked by a Leo. Oh,
you was out there with you don't play, huh?
I don't play.
You go in places I won't go, and I'm black.
Well, that's why. That's where I belong. That's where I belong. Tag me and send me.
I appreciate that.
Tag me and send me. That's why I am your Caucasian.
All right, Miss Sharon, it was nice meeting you.
Thank you.
Definitely, I appreciate this.
I look forward to watching the video.
Yeah, I'm gonna put it up today.
Won't be able to like it for a while, but you can like it for me. Okay?
Appreciate it. Thank you again. One more time before we out of here.
Okay. Bye, brother.